What's up, fight fans? Welcome to my channel. This is Johnny, and in today's video we're going to be going over the statistics that nobody talks about. We're mentioning this weekend's fight in San Diego, California between Raymond Muratalla and Zaur Abdullaev. Guys, before I continue, I want to say thank you to all the new subscribers. Thank you to everybody who's been with me since day one. If you haven't already, could you please hit subscribe? Also, like this video, and right now, go down to the bottom of this video, near the subscribe button, you'll see a little bell. Hit that so you can be notified every time I put something out that's new. Thank you. All right, guys, a new week is here. Last week was busy. This whole year has been busy, but we have to push forward just like any great fighter, brush the shoulder off, and move on. So this weekend, we're going to be focusing on a few cards. This specific video, we're going to be talking about the card that's taking place in San Diego, California, headlined by Vaquera. Emmanuel Navarrete is taking on Charlie Suarez, which is a great fight. We'll be featuring that later in the week. But today, we're talking about the co-main taking place at 135 pounds between Raymond Muratalla and Zaur Abdullaev. Guys, in this video, I'm going to be breaking down both guys' careers. We're going to talk about how each guy goes about their business, see what they've been up to with their resumes. Stay tuned to the end of the video because that's the portion of the show where I'm going to be talking about the Las Vegas odds, and I'll be giving you my prediction and telling you where to put your money. Let's get into this. Guys, Zaur Abdullaev is a one-loss fighter. His only loss was back in 2019 to Devin Haney. Since that loss, he's gone 9-0 with 4 stoppages, and he just gets better and better. Both guys, Abdullaev and Muratalla, are huge lightweights. For 135 pounds, both guys stand about 5'8", 5'9". They both cut a lot of weight. Muratalla is a guy who thinks that he belongs at the top tier of that division. We have to remember the champions at 135 pounds, Keyshawn, Tank, Shakur, and Loma. So this is one of those fights where the winner should be propelling themselves into a world title shot. And with both guys' careers, they feel that this is their time. We know Muratalla is undefeated. He has a lot to prove. He feels that he's always been overlooked. 28 years old, he's been talking about that this Abdullaev matchup is a perfect tailor-made matchup for him to show off his skill set. Right now, I want to take a closer look at what's at stake this weekend in San Diego. Undefeated lightweight contender Raymond Danger Muratalla is 22-0 with 17 knockouts. Says he's all set to seize his championship opportunity. The 28-year-old fighting pride of Fontana, California will take on Russian Zaur Abdullaev, who's 20-1 with 12 knockouts, for the vacant interim IBF lightweight world title at the Pechanga Arena in San Diego. Muratalla Abdullaev will be the co-feature to the WBO Junior Lightweight World Title Showdown between reigning king Emmanuel Vaquero Navarrete and unbeaten Filipino challenger Charlie Suarez. You guys can catch these fights on ESPN+. The IBF number 4 Muratalla surged into world title contention in 2023 after knocking out big punching Jeremiah Nakatia in 2 rounds in May, before stopping Diego Torres in 8 rounds in November. During 2024, he picked up 10-round decisions over Zazani Zogeni in March and former world champion Tevin Farmer in July, before icing out Jesus Perez with a stunning second-round stoppage in November. IBF number 2 Abdullaev has won 9 straight fights since a 2019 defeat to Devin Haney, including impressive victories over former world champions Jorge Linares, Dejan Zaklinin, and Roger Gutierrez. Following a recent training session at the Robert Garcia Boxing Academy, Muratalla shared his delight at landing the interim title shot, and I quote, "This is a huge opportunity for me, for my family, and for my team. This is exciting and motivating because it gets me one step closer to even bigger fights. I want to get these big fights that everyone wants to see me in. My main goal is to get past Zaur Abdullaev so I can start calling out these big fighters. But I'm not looking past him. I know this will be a tough one, probably my toughest fight. Zaur Abdullaev has improved a lot as a fighter. He's gotten better since the Devin Haney fight. That was a few years ago, and now he's on a winning streak. I know he's coming to fight, and he's not just here to fight, he's here to win. And I'm on the same page, so it's going to be a good one. I can't wait. He comes forward with a high guard, he's strong, but I think he's a little slow for me. I have too many skills and different things he hasn't seen yet. At the same time, I feel there are a lot of skills that I haven't even shown yet. I'm ready to go. This is something that all fighters dream of. I put in the work to get here, and I'm ready to show out May 10th, end quote. Guys, both gentlemen on their resumes, this isn't one of these fights where the resumes are weak. They both have good victories on their resumes. When you think about Abdullaev, when you watch him fight, Just go to the Jorge Linares fight. This is a guy who starts out the fight with kind of match and mirroring his opponent. You can see his opponent jab, he'll throw the jab. 2-3, he'll throw the 2-3. And over time, what this does to his opponent is it's tiresome and exhausting. And this gives him an ability to change tempo on his punches and to punch with his opponents. He's not going to have the fastest hands. He keeps a high guard, and he's not that complex of a fighter. He likes getting on his front foot. What I feel is a great combo for him is he has a good jab, but he'll throw his lead hook off of the jab. So he throws a power jab, but then once his opponent picks up on the power jab, he'll tap the jab out, boom, boom, and turn the left hook right over. And this is a combo that he kept landing against Linares. With Muratalla feels he's going to have the speed advantage. This is an RGBA fighter, Robert Garcia, so we know his body work is going to be there. We know he's going to be on the front foot, and he likes a dogfight as well. With Muratalla, I like his backhand uppercut. He throws it to set up his lead hook. When he lands it big, he likes bringing his opponent's hands down, and then he follows up head side. So this is a combo to look out for in this matchup because Abdullaev is going to be the taller guy. 5'9" and 5'8". Both guys are big lightweights, like I already said. It's going to be an interesting matchup. Right now, I want to take a closer look to see what Zaur Abdullaev has been up to with his career. Guys, Abdullaev's 20-1 with 12 knockouts. He carries into the ring a 60% career knockout to win ratio. And out of 2,490 lightweights in the world, he is ranked number 6. He has a career 154 pro rounds fought. The Russian is a 31-year-old Orthodox fighter standing at 5'9" with a 72-inch reach. We last saw him fight Carrasco, 20-1, stopped him in the 12th. Gutierrez, 27-5, UD in the 10th. Andreev, 25-0, stopped him in the 3rd. Nunes, 23-4, UD in the 10th. Straffen, 25-4, stopped him in the 5th. Abdullaev has one of these styles that if you're not on your A game, if you're not paying attention to what he's doing, he likes sort of painting his own picture. It takes him a long time. He has a lot of late round stoppages. He will be there to get hit. Almost every fight, he's one of these guys that doesn't really wear damage that well. So you see his face swelling. You see all of the punches on him. You know, there's some fighters who could go through a 10, 12 round fight and they look like they haven't even been touched, even though they've been getting touched up. He's not one of these guys. So that's going to be something to look out for. A major narrative early on in this fight is him figuring out that distance. Will he respect the power of Muratalla, and will he be able to stay in that strike zone as long as he wants? Because if it's up to him, the entire fight's going to happen there. It's going to come down to durability. Right now, let's look at Raymond Muratalla and see what he's been up to. Guys, Muratalla is 22-0 with 17 knockouts. He carries in the ring a 77% career knockout to win ratio out of 2,490 lightweights in the world. He's ranked number 5. He's fought a career 101 pro rounds. His adoring fans know him as Danger, and the 28-year-old American is an Orthodox fighter standing at 5'8" with a 72-inch reach. He proudly calls Fontana, California, USA home. We last saw him fight Campos, 25-5, stoppage in the 2nd. Tevin Farmer, 33-5, UD in the 10th. Najeni, 31-4, UD in the 10th. Nunes, 18-0, stoppage in the 8th. Nakatila, 23-2, stoppage in the 2nd. So this is a guy on his resume who has victories over former world champions. He could beat you with power, but he could also win decisions. Holding a 77% career knockout to win ratio and being undefeated in this division, he feels he's one highlight reel knockout away from getting a world title fight. This is an interim title fight, but we know in boxing, these guys want to be full world champions. When I look at Muratalla and I think about how does he hold up against the other top guys in the division, when you think about Shakur, Tank, Loma, and Keyshawn, right now I'm asking you guys in the comment section below, could Muratalla with a victory over Abdullaev beat any of the 4 current champions? When I think about both fighters side by side, both in their physical prime, I think Abdullaev, he's going to be a little bit taller with a little bit longer reach. I'm giving the power advantage to Muratalla and the speed advantage. It's going to come down to a lot of psychology in this fight. What I mean by that is how each guy is going to hold up with the damage, how Muratalla is going to hold up with that sort of prodding style that Abdullaev has, and how Abdullaev is going to hold up to the speed of Muratalla and the power of Muratalla. These are the narratives that are going to literally prove the outcome of this fight, and this is what I'm going to be focusing on, and this is why I'm excited about this matchup. We're going to get to see 2 top guys at 135 pounds, and then the pecking order will be a little bit more clear after this outcome. Right now, I want to take a closer look at those Las Vegas odds. Guys, I'm down here in Australia. Wherever you are in the world, let's pull out those betting apps. Also, I'm only going to give you my prediction. Stay tuned to these channels to the end of the week. I'll be doing my live stream where I'll be giving you my method of victory and prop and lock bets. let's get into this. All right, guys, currently on the money line, Raymond Muratalla is $1.28, meaning you put $100 on him just to win, you get your money back plus 28 bucks. The draw is 17-1. Abdullaev is a 4-10, meaning 100 bucks gets you your money back plus $310. When I look at both the fighters' styles, when I look at their resumes, they're both coming off stoppage victories. Both guys have fun styles. They're going to be there to get hit. Like I said, durability, speed, and power are three major factors that I feel that I'm going to lean on when going with my victor. And right now, I'm taking Raymond Muratalla to defeat Abdullaev. I think the speed's going to be too much. He has been dropped before, but we've seen him come back and get victories. I think that his power is going to be too much in overtime. I feel that he's going to wilt Abdullaev. Right now in the comment section below, you don't have to agree with me. Who do you think is going to win this fight, Muratalla or Abdullaev? What's up, fight fans? Welcome to my channel. This is Johnny. In today's video, we're going to be going over the statistics that nobody talks about when mentioning this weekend's main event in Kissimmee, Florida between Lubin and Holmes. Guys, before I continue, I want to say thank you to all the new subscribers. Thank you to everybody who's been with me since day one. If you haven't already, could you please hit subscribe? Also, remember to like this video. And if you can, go down to the bottom of your screen right now, right near that subscribe button, hit the bell notification icon so you can be notified every time I put something out that's new. All right, guys, this weekend we have a full list of boxing from the UK to the US, multiple cards. In this video, we're gonna be going over the main event in Kissimmee, Florida, between the hometown kid Lubin and the undefeated southpaw Holmes. So in this video, we're gonna be going over what both fighters have been up to. We're gonna talk about their careers, talk about their game plans. Also, stay tuned to the end of the video because that's where I'll be going over the Las Vegas odds, and I'll also give you my prediction on where to put your money. All right, guys, before the bell even rings, this fight already has history. This fight already has vitriol behind it. Lubin and Holmes have met once before, not in the pros, but in the amateurs. You can make whatever you want to make out of that. Lubin, it was his last amateur fight before he turned pro, and he won a decision. With Lubin, we know that he had a storied amateur career. He had a lot of hype coming out of the amateurs. He chose to forego becoming an Olympian to become pro, and at only 29, he's already been a pro close to a decade. It seems like he's fought the who's who in his division. At times when he has tested himself at the highest level, things haven't always gone his way. Obviously, we're talking about that Charlo knockout, and then when he got stopped against Seb Fundora due to damage, that was a firefight as well. He got dropped, and then he drops Fundora. If you haven't seen that fight, go check that out. With Holmes, this is a tall southpaw from Flint, Michigan, 6'2". He's actually older than Lubin. He feels that this is his shot. It's his time, now or never. He feels that amateur experience, he was a different fighter, and he thinks that he's going to be too much for Lubin. There's rumors that the winner of this fight will put themselves in position to fight for the IBF title at 154 against the undefeated bruiser Russian Bakram Muratalla. It was only a short while ago, guys, where me living down here in Sydney, Australia, we thought, us boxing fans, that Lubin was going to come down to Australia to fight Tim Tszyu. And we know that sometimes in boxing, more often than not, things don't always go as planned. So Lubin has picked himself up off the canvas multiple times. He's coming off a decision win against Jesus Ramos. That was controversial, could have gone either way. Holmes as well is coming off, I don't want to say a lackluster performance, but a bit of an uncharacteristic performance in his own standards. So they both have something to prove, and they both feel that the bright lights, the main event, is going to be serving them as well to put on a great performance. Before I continue, I want to remind everybody what happened not too long ago at the press conference when these two faced off face to face.
Your best sparring partner is Russell Shields, bro.
That's better than the shit you have on YouTube. Huh? That's better than the shit you been posting on YouTube.
I'm glad you watching. I'm glad you watching. Break you up.
All right, this way. Yo, this way. This way, guys, right here. All right, this way. All right, it's done, guys. This way, guys, right here. Come on, right there. Right here, guys, do one picture. Guys, do one great picture. Hey, right here.
You got like 6 knockouts, bro. You ain't
Hey,
gonna knock out. How many times you been knocked out? How many times you been knocked out? How many times you been knocked out, nigga?
I just beat you in the amateurs, bro. I beat the shit out you, bro.
It's done.
Okay.
I
beat you the fuck up.
Hey, I'm happy you happy with that. I'm happy you happy with it. I'm happy you happy with it.
All right, that's good. Hey, that's good. That's good.
We're gonna see. That's good. We're gonna see.
As you can hear, what they're talking about is what's going to happen come fight night. They brought up their amateur fight, and then Holmes really got under Lubin's skin when he talked about he gets knocked out, and that's when Lubin pushed him. So right now, I want to remind everybody what's at stake this weekend in Kissimmee, Florida. And I quote, "He's a good fighter," said Argiro Holmes, discussing his May 10th opponent, Erickson Lubin. "He's an excellent fighter. He's at the top for a reason, so you can't take that away from him. Because he's in my division, I've always watched his career. I keep an eye on him." The two fought as amateurs in Lubin's last fight in the unpaid ranks. Lubin won over 3 rounds, and both have made strides in the pros towards their IBF title eliminator, a bout set to determine who will face champion Bakar Muratalla. Time has moved on, of course, since they met in the final of the National Golden Gloves in Salt Lake City back in 2013. There's a great deal at stake in this fight as well, at the Silver Spurs Casino in Kissimmee, Florida. Holmes remembers Lubin as a good fighter from their previous encounter. Just being talented, strong, just an all-around good fighter, Holmes recalled. There was a significant buzz around Lubin when he turned over, and that would have created a lot of pressure and expectation that Holmes, to a degree, sympathizes with. I can only imagine, I think so, said Holmes, who admits this represents a step up in opposition for him. This will be my biggest fight, he added. I feel like this will be the fight that puts me in conversation with the best at 154. The undefeated Flint, Michigan southpaw is 30 and ready for his breakout opportunity. In his last fight back in September 2023, when he won a controversial decision to outscore Jesus Ramos, he says it wasn't his best performance, and coming into fight night this weekend, it'll be almost 19 months since we've seen him fight. It was Lubin's biggest win on paper, but also not his finest hour. I think he did what Ramos let him do. You know what I mean, said Holmes. Ramos is a good fighter. You can't look great against every fighter. I feel like he's just an all-around decent fighter. Both boxers are not just hungry for a title fight, but they want to make their mark in one of boxing's hottest divisions. Lubin is a quality southpaw, a former amateur star who's been among the best in his division for a decade. Some of the questions that Holmes is going to have to answer when the bell rings is, how's he going to manage Lubin's power? How's he going to circle away from the lead hook when his backhand's equally as impressive? And with Lubin, he's just going to have to figure out that height disadvantage. He's going to have to figure out that jab. He's seen it before, though. He's been in the ring with Seb Fandora. Even though things didn't go his way, he did have success. So going into this fight, he feels that the height advantage won't be that big of an issue for him. So right now, I do want to take a closer look at Argiro Holmes and see what he's been up to. Guys, Argiro Holmes is 17-0 with 6 knockouts. He carries into the ring a 35% career knockout to win ratio. And out of 2,233 fighters at 154 pounds, he's ranked number 49 in the world. He's fought a total of 90 professional rounds, and his adoring fans know him as the Boss Man. The American's a 30-year-old southpaw standing at 6'2" with a 74-inch reach, residing from Flint, Michigan, USA. We last saw him fight Edwin Jr., 9-0, UD in the 10th. Noriega, 10-2, UD in the 10th. Harrington, 10-1, stopped him in the 2nd. Toussaint, 14-1, on technical decision in the 8th. Villarreal, 12-0, split decision in the 10th. So like you heard out of his own mouth, this will be Argiro Holmes' biggest step up. This will also be his first 12-round fight. This will also be his first title eliminator. So he feels the time is now. He's perfectly ready for it. When you watch his style, you're going to see a tall, crafty southpaw, doesn't mind fighting off the ropes, uses his jab, has a pretty good jab. I feel that's his best weapon. And if he uses that jab to control Lubin's aggression and control Lubin's tempo, I think he's going to find a lot of success. Right now, let's take a closer look at the hammer, Erickson Lubin. Guys, Lubin's 26-2 with 18 knockouts. He's currently not ranked at 154 pounds due to his inactivity. We haven't seen him in close to 19 months. He carries into the ring a 69% career knockout to win ratio and has fought a total of 136 pro rounds. His adoring fans know him as the Hammer, and the American is a 5'11" southpaw with a 74-inch reach. He resides in Kissimmee, Florida, USA. We last saw him fight Jesus Ramos, 20-0, UD in the 12th. Arias, 20-3, stopped him in the 5th. Seb Fandora, 18-0, he got stopped in the 9th. Rosario, 20-2, knockout in the 6th. Terrell Gachet, 21-1, UD in the 12th. So like I said, Erickson Lubin is a consummate professional. We watched him mature from his amateur to pro ranks. We've also watched him go through adversity. He's been stopped before, he's been knocked out before, but he's gotten back up each time to make another run at the title. You could say what you want about that Ramos fight. It could have gone either way. The scorecards were all over the place. Ramos fans feel that he won that, but in boxing, all you could do is take what's put in front of you, and he's not the one making the judges' scorecards or reading out the winner. So it's business as usual. He feels this is his chance finally to prove to everybody why they call him the Hammer. When you watch his style, he is a dangerous fighter. This is why his fans love him. He has a lot of kind of a cult following because of, he calls his hooks the sledge. His lead hook is equally as brutal as his backhand. I think he's at his best though when he's setting his lead hook up with his backhand. Coming from that southpaw style, he's marauding you into the ropes. I feel his best knockouts are when he lands his backhand left straight, forces his opponent to circle slightly away, and that's him setting that trap for that lead hook. And that's one of my favorite punches he throws. This is going to be an exciting matchup. The narrative will definitely be, will Lubin be able to figure out the height and length and get past that jab? And will Holmes be able to circumnavigate that power and force Lubin into his style of fight? When I look at both guys side by side, we know the name Erickson Lubin. A lot of you guys might not be familiar with Argiro Holmes, but Holmes is the older guy. He's the taller guy. But funny enough, their reach cancels each other out. It's one of the reasons why Lubin is able to create so much power with his hooks due to his torque and his reach. Pro rounds on Lubin's side, championship experience on Lubin's side. The only thing that I could give Argiro Holmes is that he's undefeated. You saw in the stare down face-off, that is what got under Lubin's skin. So going into this fight, Argiro Holmes knows that. He said to his face, you've been stopped twice. All you do is get knocked out. So in Holmes' mind, he's undefeated, never been knocked out, and he feels that he has all the confidence in the world to not only beat Erickson Lubin, but to stop him. He doesn't have a lot of pop on his power, but we know with those tall, lanky fighters who use their jab, every now and then they could develop a knockout. Also, there's a lot of pressure on Lubin's side. This is a hometown fight for him, a hometown main event. The last time we featured a hometown fight, hometown main event on this channel, it didn't go too well for the hometown kid. I'm talking about the first time Jaime Munguia fought Bruno Suarez, and Bruno Suarez, who only had 4 knockouts on his record at the time, knocked out Jaime Munguia. So only time will tell to see how this one plays out. Right now, I want to take a closer look at the Las Vegas odds and see where all the money is at. Remember, guys, I'm down here in Australia. My betting book is called Sportsbet. So wherever you are in the world, let's pull those betting apps out right now. Also, I want to mention, I'm only going to give you my money line prediction fights. Stay tuned to the channel. Friday morning, 11 a.m. Australia. Thursday night in America, I'll be doing my live stream where I'll be giving you my prop bets and the lock picks of the week for all the fights that I'm talking about on the channel throughout the week. All right, guys, currently the money line sits at $1.39 for Erickson Lubin, meaning that you put $100 on Lubin to win, you get your money back plus 39. The draw is 17-1. Argiro Holmes is a 325, meaning you put 100 on him just to win, you get your money back plus 225 bucks. So the fight has gotten closer and closer, the odds at least, where the money's going as we get closer and closer to fight night. I looked at those odds last week, and Lubin was $1.22. He's at $1.39 now, meaning that there's money coming back on Argiro Holmes. When I'm thinking about my prediction, here's where I'm going. I like the power, I like the experience, I like the confidence, and mate, Erickson Lubin, the Hammer, is just so fun to watch. He's one of my favorite fighters to watch. When he's grooving, when he's cooking, he is a nightmare for anybody at 154 pounds. I think he's going to be a little bit more defensive responsible. I'd like to see him add a little bit of head movement, at least fire and get your head off the center line, or fire and roll away. We'll see what happens, but I'm definitely picking Erickson Lubin to beat Argiro Holmes. I think he's going to put himself in a position to fight Abdullaev, and fingers crossed, that would be a firefight. You do not have to agree with me in the comment section below. Who do you think is going to win this fight? Holmes, will he continue to be undefeated and improve his record to 18-0? Or will we see Erickson Lubin get back on track, continue his winning streak, and put himself in that position to become a world champion that a lot of his fans think that he's destined to become? What's up, fight fans? Welcome to my channel. This is Johnny, and in today's video, we're going to be going over the statistics that nobody talks about when mentioning this weekend's main event in San Diego, California, between Vaquero Emmanuel Navarrete and the undefeated Filipino challenger, Charlie Suarez.
Great combination from Charlie with a 7 shots. Puncher with a 7.
Guys, before I continue, I want to say thank you to all the new subscribers. Thank you to everybody who's been with me since day one. If you haven't already, could you please remember to hit subscribe? My YouTube analytics are telling me that close to 75% of you guys who watch my content haven't done this yet. Also, please like this video and go down to the bottom of your screen right now. Near the subscribe button, you'll see a bell notification button. Hit that for me so you can be notified every time I put something out that's new. All right, guys, we have another exciting jam-packed weekend of boxing. This video takes us to the Pechanga Resort in San Diego, California for a world title fight at 130 pounds. So in this video, we're gonna be going over both fighters, Navarrete and Suarez. We're gonna talk a little bit about their careers, how they go about their business. Also, stay tuned to the end of the video. We'll be going over those Las Vegas odds, and I'll be giving you my prediction on telling you where to put your money. Let's get into this. All right, guys, let's talk a little bit about the champion at 130 pounds first, Vaquero Emmanuel Navarrete. When I think about his career, when I think about what he's done, even his fight style in the ring, I think about an X factor. He does everything unorthodox. I like to ask the coaches around him when he turned pro over 13 years ago. The guy's only 30. He turned pro as a 17-year-old. I'd like to ask his coaches back then, would they have predicted this guy to become a 3-weight world champion? When you look at the long list of iconic Mexican boxers, there aren't many 3-weight world champions. He did try to become a 4th. We know he's won titles at 22, 26, and 30, and he fell a little short at 135 when he lost a split decision to Dennis Baranchyk. If he would have won that 4th, he would have put himself on hollow ground, joining the likes of other 4 division weight world champions in Mexican history, such as Morales, Arce, Marquez, Canelo, and Santa Cruz. And there's only a few other 3 division world champions, such as Barrera and Julio Cesar Chavez. De La Hoya won 6 and Tapia won 3, but those are more Mexican Americans. I'm talking about specifically born in Mexico. So this is a guy who's legendary already, and at only 30 years old, he still has so much more of his career. Lately in his career, we've seen a little bit of mixed bags. He is coming off a dominant victory. He has that loss that I told you about, and he also has a draw. The last time he fought in San Diego, things did not go his way, so he's going to be looking for his get back. I should also mention, out of 39 victories, he has 32 knockouts, so he doesn't really have one-punch knockout power, but he drowns his opponents. When he sees you struggling, he's going to drown you. This will also be his 16th world title fight. I mention all of these stats because with his opponent, Charlie Suarez, you couldn't find a more contrasted matchup with these two. This guy turned pro at 30 years old. He is 36. He's undefeated with 18 victories, and he has a long storied amateur career coming from the Philippines. If you look at his resume, he shared the ring as an amateur with Vasily Lomachenko. Like I told you about Navarrete, who's an X factor with his style. He does a lot of things unorthodox. Charlie Suarez is a technician. This guy's very technical with his guard, with his style, with his game plan. So when this matchup got made, it has a lot of boxing purists excited to see how this one's gonna play out. Right now, let's take a closer look at what's at stake this weekend in California. All right, guys, Mexican 3-division king Emmanuel Navarrete will defend his WBO Junior Lightweight World Championship against undefeated Filipino contender Charlie Suarez. Navarrete returns to the site of his narrow loss to Dennis Baranchyk last May, which ended his bid to become a 4-division world champion. He bounced back that December, stopping Oscar Valdez in 6 rounds to maintain his dominance at 130 pounds. This marks Navarrete's 16th world title fight, a run that began with his 2018 upset of Isaac Dogbo. His opponent, Charlie Suarez, 18-0 with 10 knockouts, is a 2016 Olympian. He bursted onto the global scene with a 12th round stoppage of Paul Fleming in Australia in 2023. He's since gone 3-0 in the US, including a 3rd round knockout of Jorge Castaneda last September. Suarez aims to become the Philippines' 3rd reigning world champion, joining 105-pounders Melvin Jerusalem and Pedro Taderon. So right now, guys, I want to take a closer look at the undefeated Filipino, Charlie Suarez, and see what he's been up to. Guys, Charlie Suarez is 18-0 with 10 knockouts. He carries in the ring a 56% career knockout to win ratio, and out of 1,954 super featherweights, he's ranked number 16 in the world. His adoring fans know him as the King's Warrior, and the 36-year-old Filipino is an orthodox fighter standing at 5'6" with a 74-inch reach. He hails from Manila, Metro Manila, Philippines. We last saw him fight Jorge Castaneda 17-3, stopped him in the 3rd. Korea 15-6, UD in the 8th. Vasquez 25-3, UD in the 10th. Fleming 28-0, stopped him in the 12th. Palulu 25-2, stopped him in the second. When I think about this guy's career, and if you guys want to learn more, go watch the Paul Fleming fight. Fleming is an Aboriginal fighter from Sydney, Australia. He was undefeated. He's a great fighter, has a lot of skills, and was winning that fight, was up on all the scorecards. And it tells you all you need to know about who Charlie Suarez is. Even though going into the last round against an undefeated fighter away from home in Sydney at his opponent's hometown, he still found it psychologically to figure out a way to get the victory. The ref stopped the fight, which kept Charlie Suarez's momentum rolling, and he's won 3 fights since. With his style, like I said, he's a technician when he goes in there. He's going to be looking to execute a game plan. It's going to be interesting how he attacks and confusing puzzle of Navarrete's style, and what he's going to see from Navarrete. One thing is for sure, he's never fought an opponent like Vaquero. Right now, let's take a look at his resume and see what he's been up to. Guys, Emmanuel Navarrete is 39-2-1. He has 32 knockouts. He carries into the ring an 82% career knockout to win ratio, and out of 1,954 fighters at 130 pounds, he's ranked number 2. He is the WBO World Super Featherweight Champion. His adoring fans know him as Vaquero, and the 30-year-old Mexican is an orthodox fighter standing at 5'7" with a 72-inch reach. He hails from San Juan Ziltepec, District Federal, Mexico. We last saw him fight Oscar Valdez, 32-2, stopped him in the 6th. Dennis Baranchek, that fight was at 135 pounds, 18-0, lost a split in the 12th. Robson Cacace, 17-2, majority draw in the 12th. Oscar Valdez the first time, 31-2, UD in the 12th. Liam Wilson, 11-1, stopped him in the 9th. So guys, you could go up and down his last 5 or 6 fights and talk a little bit about controversy in each one. The Liam Wilson fight, Ozzy who traveled, who hurt Navarrete, and when you rewatch that knockdown, it was early in the fight, the ref took 15 to 20 seconds to get to his count. Navarrete recovers, and then he stopped Wilson. Valdez the first time, it was a decision. He kind of had a lackluster performance against Cacace, got a draw. He tried to be great, went up to 35. Loss. It was his first loss since early on in his career. And then he seemed to get back on track, went back to 130 and stopped Valdez. When you think about Navarrete's style, his feet aren't good. His guard isn't that good. His technique isn't that good. But what makes him great is he uses all that to his benefit. He makes his opponent almost freeze sometimes. His feet will switch. He throws punches at really awkward angles. His right hand sometimes has a piston element to it, to where it comes at different angles and his opponents can't predict where it's coming from. I wouldn't say he has one punch knockout power, but 32 knockouts out of 39 wins. The dude has pop. And what happens is he's a volume puncher. So you add that unorthodox approach, you add that right hand to the game, and you add his volume, and it is a nightmare to deal with. When I look at these guys side by side, a fascinating thing about this is that you have to give all the championship pedigree, the ring experience to Navarrete. When you look at Suarez, he's undefeated. Something to think about with his high guard, with his technical approach. He has a 74-inch reach, only 5'6", so he'll have a 2-inch reach advantage. He uses that to his advantage in the pocket. He sets his jab up to set up his backhand. We'll see how Navarrete deals with that. I'm going to be paying close attention to the beginning of this fight to see how Suarez handles those first few rounds. I feel from a competitive standpoint, he should be able to take a couple of the early rounds. I fully expect this fight to go late. Before we get to my prediction, I want to take a closer look at the Las Vegas betting odds. What I also want to tell you guys is down here in Australia, my book is called Sportsbet. Also, I'm only going to give you my money line prediction. Stay tuned to the channel tomorrow. I'll be doing my prop bet, method bet, and lock of the week live stream, 11 a.m. Australia time, 6 p.m. on the West Coast of America, 9 p.m. on the East Coast. So stay tuned to the channel to get my method of victory and prop and lock bets. All right, guys, currently on the money line, Navarrete is $1.22, meaning you put $100 on him, you get $22 in return. The draw is 16-1. Charlie Suarez is $4.90, meaning you put $100 on him, you get your money back plus $3.90. Regarding my prediction, I got to be honest with you, I haven't spent this much time going back and forth regarding who I feel is going to win in a long time. I reached out to some friends overseas, reached out to my buddies in Australia who were at the Paul Fleming fight personally, who've seen Suarez fight, and I gotta be honest with you, look on YouTube, look at the content creators in the boxing space. A lot of people are taking the Filipino to upset Navarrete, even with those odds. They think that his undefeated pedigree, his technique, and his power is gonna be too much. What I'm gonna tell you right here, I just don't see it. I think Navarrete is gonna be business as usual. I think what that style is gonna prove too much for the Filipino. I don't think he's ever seen anything like that, and I think Navarrete is going to drown him. Like I said, I think the fight's going to go late, and I think Navarrete's swarming style, his volume punching, and the power that comes out of the right hand from unorthodox angles will be too much for the Filipino. And at 36 years old, I just don't see that body holding up over a world title fight against a monster like Navarrete. You guys don't have to agree with me in the comment section below. How do you see this one going? Mexico or the Philippines? This one's exciting. What's up, fight fans? Welcome to my channel. This is Johnny, and in today's video we're going to be going over the statistics that nobody talks about. We're mentioning this weekend's upcoming fight at 130 pounds in Nottingham, England, between Anthony Cacace and Leigh Wood. Guys, before I continue, I want to say thank you to all the new subscribers. Thank you to everybody who's been with me since day one. If you haven't already, could you please remember to hit subscribe? Also, like this video and go down to the bottom of your screen right now. Find that little bell notification button. Click that so you can be notified every time I put something out that's new. Let's get into this. All right, guys, part of another busy week of boxing. This feature takes us to the UK, where we're highlighting an exciting fight at 130 pounds between two world champions. Both former, one was a world champion at 126, and Cacace is a world champion at 135. It's just that we know what the IBF likes to do when they post their mandatories. If you don't fight their mandatories, they'll strip you, even if there's big money involved in other areas. And that, in a nutshell, is what's happened here. Cacace won a title at 135, became a world champion against a gritty Joe Cordina. That is his best win on paper. And we know Leigh Wood was a former world champion at 126. He is moving up, and both gentlemen are going to put everything on the line in Leigh Wood's hometown. So the Irishman Cacace will be up against it in terms of the crowd. So in this video, we're going to go over both men's careers. We're going to remind everybody who each guy is, talk a little bit about how they go about their business. Also, stay tuned to the end of the video. We're going to go over those Las Vegas odds, and I'll be giving you my prediction, telling you where to put your money. All right, fight fans, an interesting component about this fight when you look on paper, both guys are 36 years old. So one could say they're both at the same part of their career because they're the same age. But that couldn't be more wrong in terms of my opinion. When you look at a guy like Leigh Wood, he's been in some wars, he's been in some exciting firefights, he's been knocked down, he has a lot of damage, and he's won some firefights. My favorite fight of his was the Mike Conlan fight. If you guys haven't seen that fight, go watch that. When the Irishman dropped Leigh Wood early and then a firefight ensued, this was the one that went viral. Wood dropped him in the 11th, but it was the 12th round when he knocked him out cold against the ropes and Conlan fell out of the ring. The thing about Wood is, you know, every time he steps in there, he's going to give it his all. This is all of the fighters from this side of the world. We just remember watching recently the Chris Eubanks Jr. versus Conor Benn fight. It was a fire fight. Not all fighters are ranked at the highest and ready for world-class talent. The one thing to say about the fighters from the UK is that they are going to fight you toe-to-toe. You don't see many fighters running or dancing, and this is what makes the Brits, the Irish, the Welsh fighters some of my favorite boxers. And for Cacace, it's the same age as Wood. He doesn't have as many miles on him, even though they're the same age. I think he's an example of a guy who became a world champion a little bit later in his career. Maybe you could call him an overachiever. And once he beat Cordina, he kind of had this push, that little world champion brush that you get that revitalized and rejuvenated how he goes about his business. So on paper, both might be 36. I just feel that Cacace might be the younger fighter going into this, and that will play a part of the narrative in terms of the outcome. So stay tuned to the end of the video. Right now, let's talk a little bit about what's at stake this weekend in Nottingham. Guys, Anthony Cacace claims that the winner of this scheduled bout between himself and Wood will fight for a full world title next. Cacace will face Wood on Saturday at the Motorpoint Arena in Wood's hometown of Nottingham, England. Northern Ireland's Cacace will enter the contest as the favorite after an impressive 2024, which saw him defeat Joe Cordina for the IBF Junior Featherweight title and then defend the belt against Josh Warrington. Wood has been inactive since vacating his WBA featherweight title after a successful defense over Warrington in October of 2023. The plan was for Wood to move up to challenge Cacace for his junior lightweight title, but Cacace was then ordered by the IBF to make a mandatory defense against Eduardo Nunes. Talks between the two parties began, but eventually Cacace decided to vacate his title in favor of a domestic dust-up with Wood. Some were surprised with Cacace's decision to vacate after only one defense, but the 36-year-old was open about the reason behind his decision, and I quote, "Financially, it was a no-brainer. You know what I mean?" Cacace said, "It's double the money for Lee compared to Nunes. And if you get offered a job, it's double the money. It's kind of, you know, it may have been different if I was 28 years old, but I'm 36. And the road's getting shorter, so it's time to capitalize." Cacace may have given up his world championship for a better payday with Wood, but he said that should he win Saturday, he expects another shot at the belt right away. It's the big fights now, but you know the winner of me and Wood, which will be myself, will box for a world title, he said. I don't know who it'll be against yet. I don't know yet, but we'll find out pretty soon. And to remind you guys of the landscape at 130 pounds, because Cacace vacated, that IBF is vacant. The other champions in that division are Lamont Roach. We just saw him move up to 35, fought to a draw with Tank, so we'll see what happens with his belt, as well as O'Shaquie Foster having the WBC and Emmanuel Navarrete holding the WBA, which he is in action this weekend in San Diego as he takes on the undefeated Filipino Charlie Suarez. So there's going to be a lot of eyes on that fight. So right now I want to take a closer look at the challenger Lee Wood and see what he's been up to. Guys, Lee Wood is 28-3 with 17 knockouts. He's currently not ranked at 130 pounds. He's fought a career total of 170 pro rounds and carries into the ring a 61% career knockout to win ratio. The British fighter is nicknamed Lethal, and he's a 5'7" orthodox fighter with a 67-inch reach. He hails from Gedling, Nottinghamshire, United Kingdom. We last saw him fight Josh Warrington, 31-2, stopped him in the 7th. Lara the second time, 26-2, UD in the 12th. Lara the first time, 25-2, he got stopped in the 7th. Michael Collins, 16-0, stopped him in the 12th. Kanzu, 18-2, stopped him in the 12th. With Lee Wood, he's one of these guys early on in his career, a lot of people underrated him. Could also call him an overachiever, just like his opponent Cacace. He's had some huge victories more recently, but he's been in some wars. He has a lot of damage. He has a fan-friendly style. They call him Lethal for a reason. At 126 pounds, he had pop. So the question is going to be, him moving up, will that power carry forward? Will he come with the same game plan as always? Pressure forward, force you to fight him in a dogfight, and see who's more durable. Durability is going to be the key to the narrative of the outcome of this fight. Right now, let's take a closer look at his opponent, Anthony Cacace. Guys, Anthony Cacace is 23-1 with 8 knockouts. He carries into the ring a 35% career knockout to win ratio. Out of 1,954 fighters in the world at 130 pounds, he's ranked number 7. He currently holds the IBO World Super Featherweight title, and he was the IBF champ before he vacated. His adoring fans know him as the Apache, and some call him Anto. The 36-year-old Irishman is listed as a southpaw, standing at 5'10". He resides from Belfast, Northern Ireland, United Kingdom. We last saw him fight Josh Warrington, 31-3, UD in the 12th. Joe Cordina, 17-0, stopped him in the 8th. Zrzinski's 26-2, UD in the 12th. Magnesi, 21-0, split decision in the 12th. Woodstock, 12-2, UD in the 12th. His biggest victory was over Joe Cordina. This made him a world champion. He then went on to fight Josh Warrington. Both guys do have wins over Warrington. Lee Wood stopped Warrington at 126, and we know that Cacace won a decision at 130 pounds. Warrington, though, I really don't like doing boxing maths. Both guys fought the one, but the one stopped him, so that means that if these guys fight, he should stop him. Not really the case, especially when you have fighters like these guys who've been through wars and who's the fresher fighter per se. And that's a term when I've been doing my film study online, watching a lot of British YouTube content creators. They've been using this word fresher to describe Cacace when looking at maybe advantages going into this fight. You could use that adjective. Something I'd say is he doesn't have many miles on him. Maybe his tires have more tread than Lee Wood. Whatever you want to say, I think that will play a factor. One of my favorite things about Cacace's offensive arsenal is he will switch stances when he's from the orthodox position and he feels that you're starting to wilt. I like what he does with his lead hand. He'll poke his jab out there as a rangefinder, and then he lands his right uppercut. And he's one of these few fighters who doesn't throw the uppercut from close clinch range. He throws it at a distance and kind of walks you into it. And it's a fun technical punch to watch. You don't see many fighters throw it like Cacace. I think the game planning is going to be interesting on this one. Both guys are going to want to take the center of the ring. Both guys are going to want to prove that they're the harder puncher. We haven't seen Wood at 30, so we'll know pretty quickly if his power is going to carry over based on what Cacace does with his footwork. Right now, I want to take a closer look at those Las Vegas odds. Guys, I'm down here in Australia. The betting app I use is called Sportsbet, so wherever you are in the world, let's pull your betting app out. Also, stay tuned to the channel tomorrow. I'll be doing my live stream. That's when I'm going to tell you my method of victory bets, my prop bets, and my locks of the week for all the fights that we covered on the channel. Right now, let's take a closer look at the money line. All right, guys, where it sits currently, Anthony Cacace is $1.51, meaning $100 gets you your money back plus 51. Lee Wood's at $2.75, so he's the underdog. If he wins, 100 gets you your money back plus 175. When I'm thinking about my prediction, when I'm thinking about where I'm going to put my money, both guys are the same age. I look at this as what have you done lately? I've mentioned it earlier in the video, but we haven't seen Lee Wood in almost 18 months. At 36 years old, you have to be active. We know that Cacace is the more active fighter. I feel that Cacace has more momentum. I think that at 36 years old, he feels that he's going to put together a couple more victories and go after that world title again like we already heard him talk. He's been in less wars. I think he has less damage. I'm going with the favorites, Anthony Cacace. Even though the betting odds right now and the money doesn't say it, I think this is a 50-50 fight. I love Lee Wood's style. He's one of my favorite British fighters to watch. He's super exciting. So the one thing I can declare for sure is that this will be an entertaining fight. So wherever you are, tune in. Based off of where this fight's taking place in Wood's hometown, what's at stake, both guys' stages of their career, this is a firefight, and this is why this fight is taking place. You guys don't have to agree with me. Let me know in the comments section below. Do you guys think that the Irishman is going to come into Nottingham, England and get the victory, or do you think it's going to be a hometown parade and we're going to see Lee Wood with his hand raised? What's up, fight fans? Welcome to my channel. This is Johnny, and in today's video we're going to be going over the statistics that nobody talks about when mentioning this weekend's world title fight at 115 pounds in Tokyo, Japan, between the champion Fernando Martinez and the challenger Kazuto Ioka.
Campeón mundial Superboca de la AMB. Ojalá que salga buena. 12 las vueltas pactadas. Se termina, parece estar bien el japonés. Ahí va Martinez. Llega la primera derecha de Ioka. Otra buena izquierda de Martinez.
Guys, before I continue, I want to say thank you to all the new subscribers. Thank you to everybody who's been with me since day one. If you haven't already, could you please remember to hit subscribe? Also, like this video and go down to the bottom of your screen, find that little bell notification button. Hit that so you can be notified every time I put something out that's new. All right, guys, capping off another jam-packed, exciting weekend of boxing. This video takes us to Tokyo, Japan. All week we've been documenting fights in the US, in the UK, and finally we are capped off with a rematch, a world title fight at 115 pounds. So in this video, we're going to be going over both fighters. We're going to talk about their resumes. We're going to talk about that first fight, what happened. Also, stay tuned to the end of the video. I'll be going over the Las Vegas odds, and I'll be giving you my prediction and telling you where to put your money. Let's get into this. All right, guys, rematches in boxing are always exciting. Interesting thing to pay attention to, though, when you're watching rematches are the weight classes. The reason why I reference this, we know with the lighter fighters, the first thing to go are reflexes and speed. And in these lighter divisions, this is what gets you to the top of the mountain. In their first fight, Puma, the Argentinian boxer, Fernando Martinez, went into Tokyo and took the belt away from the Japanese star, Kazuto Ioka. He won a 12-round decision. Both guys are in their 30s. They're not getting any younger. The rematch was supposed to take place late last year, but Martinez had to pull out at the very last second. Then there were rumors that the rematch wasn't going to take place. We thought we were going to see Fernando versus Bam Rodriguez at 115 for a unification bout. Those talks fell through, and then here we are, fast forward to May, and we get to see the rematch. Once again, Martinez is going to Tokyo, Japan to put his belt on the line, the one that he took in the first match. You got to think that the money was right for him to do this, and winning a 12-round decision in the first fight must give him the confidence that he could do the same. Ioka is a wealth of ring experience. He's going to have close to a 3-1 advantage in total pro rounds fought. At 36 years old, he thinks that he could still compete at the top echelon of fighters. We have to remember, at 115 pounds, Martinez is a champion, Bam Rodriguez is a champion, and the WBO strap is held by Fumelele Kafu. So the narrative going into this fight will the Japanese fighter be able to turn back the clock and take his belt away and be called a champion once again? Or will the Olympian Argentinian fighter, Puma, keep his belt and move on to bigger and better things? Right now, I want to take a closer look at what's at stake Saturday night in Tokyo. Guys, this fight will be for the WBA World title, taking place at Ota City General Gymnasium in Tokyo, Japan. We remember these guys fought last July. On that occasion, Ioka held the WBA title and Martinez held the IBF title. The two fought each other to a standstill in an excellent fight, and the Argentine fighter was awarded a 12-round unanimous decision. It was decided that they would fight again on December 31st, but Martinez got sick and the fight was called off at the 11th hour. To make the rematch, Martinez had to vacate the IBF title because of mandatory commitments. We spoke about it all week. The IBF does this. If you don't fight your mandatories, think about Anthony Cacace. He's fighting this weekend against Lee Wood. He was stripped because he chose to fight Lee Wood instead of his mandatory Sugar Nunez. It looked for a period of time as though the two would then go their own separate ways, with Martinez linked with a fight with Ring WBC champ Bam Jesse Rodriguez before Ioka and Martinez were able to broker a deal for the return. Regarding the rematch with Martinez, I believe it is my duty, Ioka told the Ring. After losing on July 7th and with the New Year's Eve fight being postponed, it has finally been set for May 11th, and my determination for revenge has grown even stronger. I am committed to winning this rematch and moving forward. Martinez, rated at number 1 by the Ring at junior bantamweight, was a standout amateur and represented his home country of Argentina all over the world. Martinez appeared in the World Series of Boxing and the 2016 Olympics before turning pro in 2017. He won his first 9 fights, all in Argentina, before venturing to South Africa to stop Ethan Kosi Dumizweni via 11th round. The 33-year-old was largely unknown until he upset Jerwin and Cacace via unanimous decision in the 12th to win the IBF title, and repeated the trick in his first defense and then stopped another Filipino, Jade Bornea, via 11th round. And he also impressively unified with the WBA ruler at the time, Kazuto Ioka, via unanimous decision in the 12th late last July. Ioka, rated at number 3 by the Ring at junior bantamweight, claimed titles at strawweight and junior flyweight. He lost for the first time to IBF flyweight title holder Amnat Rurong. Unperturbed, the Japanese star rebounded to best Juan Carlos Riveco to win the WBA belt in that division. He made 5 title defenses, including a rematch victory over Riveco, then shockingly retired from the sport in 2017. However, following a 17-month layoff, Ioka returned to junior bantamweight in search of more glory. He lost the WBO title belt to Donny Nietes, but stopped Aston Poliste for the very same belt after Nietes vacated. The 4-weight world title holder made 6 successful defenses, notably stopping Kosei Tanaka before dominating Nietes in a rematch. He then looked to unify with WBA titleist Joshua Franco, but had to settle for a draw. Ioka, at 36, decided to vacate his title instead of facing his mandatory to pursue a rematch with Franco, and impressively won a 12-round unanimous decision. Unable to secure a unification fight with Estrada, he had to settle for a routine defense before dropping his title to the hard-charging Martinez. Guys, this is a fun, exciting fight. We're featuring this fight on the channel because you guys asked for it. You do know I'm a one-man show, so if there are fights that you ask me that I can't get to, I apologize. It looks like I'm not going to be able to touch a few of those English fights. I did showcase the headline feature, though, going on in Nottingham between Lee Wood and Cacace, but this fight had more requests than all the others. Both guys' styles are fun. You know, at 115 pounds, it's all action. It's like pressing an on button, and for the whole fight, these guys are just going to go at it. You're going to see a lot of volume. You're going to see a lot of action. I think what Ioka does best is his decision-making in the firefights. He has a really high ring IQ, and I think what Fernando Martinez does the best is his volume and his pressure. So that'll be something for you guys to watch. Right now, let's take a closer look at the challengers, Ioka's resume, and see what he's been up to. Guys, Kazuto Ioka's 31-3-1. He has 16 knockouts. He carries into the ring a 52% career knockout to win ratio. And out of 856 super flyweights in the world, he is ranked number 7. The 36-year-old Japanese fighter is an orthodox fighter standing at 5'4" with a 64-inch reach. He resides from Tokyo, Japan. Last saw him fight Fernando Martinez the first time, 16-0. He lost the decision in the 12th. Perez, 20-3, stopped him the 7th. Joshua Franco the second time, 18-1, UD in the 12th, victory. Joshua Franco the first time, 18-1, that was a draw in the 12th. Nietzsche's 43-1, he won a UD in the 12th. Kazuto Ioka is a guy that's been a world champion in multiple weight classes. At 36 years old with over 300 professional rounds fought, he still thinks that he has fire in the tank. I told you earlier, he retired back in 2017, came back to become a world champion again. So anyone doubting him, you have to remember that this guy has the mental capacity of a world champion. Even though he has a few losses on his record, he's never been stopped. And the pressure's up against him, but he is in his hometown. And like he told you in that interview, he owes his fans a victory and a get back. Right now, let's look at the champion, Fernando Martinez. As Martinez is 17-0 with 9 knockouts. He carries into the ring a 53% career knockout to win ratio. And out of 856 super flyweights in the world, he is ranked number 2. His adoring fans call him Pumita, and the 33-year-old Argentinian fighter stands at 5'2" with a 64-inch reach. He hails from Buenos Aires District, Federal, Argentina. We last saw him fight Ioka the first time, 31-2, UD in the 12th. Bornea, 18-0, stopped him in the 11th. And Cacace, 33-2, UD in the 12th. And Cacace the first time, 33-1, UD in the 12th. Duran, 19-21, stopped him in the 4th. So this is a storied Olympian. We covered another fighter from the Philippines this week, Charlie Suarez, who was an Olympian. And the reason why I reference that, these guys take a lot of pride in representing their country, so they don't turn pro until a little bit later on in their 20s and 30s. Thus, the 33-year-old Argentinian, only 17 pro fights, but in terms of the tread on the tires, he's not going to be as worn down as his opponent, so that's something to think about when you're thinking about where you're going to put your money. He's never been stopped, never lost, so remember that as well. This guy at 115 pounds talked about openly, wants to unify against Bam, and the first step has to be to win this rematch against Ioka. When I look at both guys side by side, you have to think about that experience. Now, generally, in the bigger weight classes, you would see a guy like Ioka with a 3-1 pro round boxing experience, and you'd have to side with him on that. But because these guys are fighting at 115, I feel that that sort of experience is going to wear down and slow down Ioka. Speed and reflexes are the key. And when you have over 300 pro rounds and you're fighting a guy in a rematch that you've already lost to, 12 rounds of experience, I just don't see a lot of adjustments that could be made at this stage of the career for Ioka. Right now, I want to take a look at the Las Vegas odds. Guys, remember, today on the channel, I'll be doing my prop bet, method of victory, and the weekend's lock picks. So tune in, Sydney. It's going to be 11 a.m. in America, 9 p.m. on the East Coast, 6 p.m. on the West Coast. Right now, let's take a closer look at the money line betting on this fight. All right, guys, currently the money line has Martinez at $1.29, meaning you put $100 on him and he wins, you get your money back plus 29. The draw is 16-1. Ioka's a 4-1, meaning you put 100 on him to just win, you get your money back plus 300. The odds aren't quite as far as I thought they would be. Normally, with a rematch, I would think that the champion who took the belt from the guy would be a bigger favorite, but you have to take in consideration Ioka's resume. You also have to take in consideration that this fight is taking place in Ioka's hometown, so the fans and the support will play a difference. When I think about where I'm putting my money, my prediction, I think it's going to be business as usual. I think we're going to hear and still. I expect the Argentinian fighter to remain undefeated and improve his record to 18-0. His pressure, his pace, and I just think the energy he's going to bring is going to be too much for Ioka. Right now, guys, you don't have to agree with me. In the comment section below, let me know. Do you think it'll be the Argentinian fighter to keep his belt, or will the Japanese fighter find redemption and become a world champion once again?